Welcome to West Dorset again. Quite nice today. It's been dreary just recently, wet, cold. It was cold this morning. It was only just above 9 degrees up here on the hill at 5 o'clock. Really is quite chilly, but things are starting to take shape ever so slowly. And I will actually admit that I did have one problem this year, severe problem. Which I'll go into with another video actually. It's just about compost and growing seeds in said compost. We'll do that other one in a minute. So anyway, this is the old greenhouse, and things are starting to liven up. Pepper plants potted on last week. They're ready to, well, they will be ready soon. They can go in the other big, into the high top greenhouse, or actual fact, I might actually leave them in here and put them in big pots on the staging. Might be easier. Borlotti beans, tried selling them locally, can't give them away. Odds and sods really all the way through here. There's a few matsuri broccoli at the far end there growing quite nicely. Flowers. And carrots going to seed. These were the sweet candle that I put in tail end of last year. They came through the winter all right, didn't grow very well, but now they're going to go to seed. So I really am tempted to leave them to go to seed and then collect the seed off of them, which might be good. Seems how the price of seeds has gone through the roof. You know, if we could save a few quid here and there, every little helps. And up until this morning, this was full of leeks. They're all now starting to bolt away to seed themselves. So they've come out. I'll process what I can tomorrow whilst it's raining, and the rest of them can go on the compost heap. Tomato plants, starting to get some size to them now. They were slow this year, even though I started them fairly early, and they'll be all right. There's a few squashes in here as well, various sorts. Uchichi curry, South Anna butternut, baked potato, and yeah, and some courgettes somewhere. I don't know where I've put them. There we go. And anyway, please ignore the mess. This is real gardening, not show gardening. So the high top greenhouse. Emptied out the Swiss chard the other day, got rid of that. And now we've got some cobra beans in the centre. I know it looks like I'm spoiling them, but if you grow them like this, you end up with loads and loads of beans in a very little space. And likewise with the melons over there growing quietly. One disappeared completely. I don't know what happened there. That's life. Cucumbers and gherkins up through this side. Put them in a bit early, I know, but they're taken and they're starting to grow, so they shouldn't be too bad. So let's go down the garden without tripping over stuff. Leek transplants. These were put in early part of last week. Poor Bella. And I'll leave them there to grow on until they're a good size before they go into the ground. Wasting time putting them out until they're about pencil thick. And there's some greens here growing along, some sprouts. I know they're a bit slow, a bit late in the season for me. Should have been earlier, but I haven't been very well. So there we go. That's life. And these are more leeks. These are Musselburgh. And no, I won't be planting them all. Most of these will be given away to friends, neighbours, etc. Saves them messing about trying to get them to grow. New bed in the making. This was where the compost heaps were. I decided to move the compost heaps over to the side where they get the sun all day when we have some sun. So they will actually do far better over there than being in the shade where they were. And I'm expecting a load of cow manure to turn up this week, and it'll go in there, put the cow manure in up to the top of the boards, water it down, and then I'll put the butternut squash, etc. in this bed, and they can get their roots down into that muck and away they go. Early potatoes in 30-litre buckets. Doing really well. You can tell which one was in the greenhouse to start with. It's this one, this end. So these are Charlotte, growing away nicely. And then main crop potatoes shooting up now. These are Laura from the supermarket, because I do like a supermarket spud. Little experiment with growing parsnips. Bit late in the season, but they're growing. They'll go, they'll do something. And the raised beds. The biggest problem I got this year with the raised beds is cutworm. And they're not doing me any favours whatsoever. Hardly any slug or snail problems, just cutworm. But they're coming along. Got a whole row of Charlotte potatoes that side in this raised bed, and a couple at the end. Chinese cabbage through there. There's a row of carrots I put in as well the other day to make use of space, and also the carrots grow better in these raised beds. Onion bed planted out completely now. There's no room for anything else. So we've got Caravel at the top of the bed, Bedfordshire Champion, and then it's Figaro shallots, and these were grown from sets. These are Bistro, and some sunflowers to keep them company in the summer. Again, another raised bed, lettuce, turnips, spinach, onions, shallots, pak choy, odds and sods really in here, all sorts in here. And then rhubarb should be ready by July. Everybody else is miles ahead of me. That's life. That's what we get for living on the side of a hill in the cold. Peas climbing away. Alderman. Didn't have a fantastic start with these. The temperature dropped rapidly in the greenhouse when I put them in the guttering to start them off, but they're away now. Broad beans up, flowering like hell, loads of them, so that should be a good show. Can't remember what these were. I'll put it up on the screen somewhere so you know. Anyway, they're flowering. Bumblebees were on them earlier on. It's got a bit cold and a bit overcast again now, so the bees have slowed down a little bit. And this bed here, odds and sods from last year, a couple of purple sproutings that made it through the winter, and some chard that's self-sown itself. Most of that can come out in a minute. And the other beds are grassed down to keep the moisture in, ready for when we can start planting the brassicas out. So this afternoon's little job is this bed here. Now this one, I cleared off all the leeks from last year out of here. Some of them are starting to bolt, some of them are still edible. They'll get processed tomorrow with the rest of them, so we should end up with quite a few. And I'm now going to plant this out with some beetroot, parsnips, some root parsley, a few radishes, and it's going to rain tomorrow, so I won't even bother watering them in, just get them ready. So there we go, quick update of what's happening in the garden. Keep gardening.